Hi guys, it's PS. Today on Pros Habits 5, we will continue on support roaming timing in depth. We thought about factors of support gap and we came up with 1. Knowing the lane matchup and features, 2. Knowing the lane management and roaming timing, and 3. Knowing how to plan a dive with your jungle. We believed low tier users may have hard time knowing these facts, and we started to discuss the roaming timing and overall support plays. The first factor, knowing the lane matchup and features, is difficult to summarize in a few videos. This needs a lot of memorizing like the periodic table. So in order to minimize the chance of having a bad matchup, it is recommended to focus on 2 to 3 champions to low tier players. As the third factor states, jungle needs to have a good understanding of a dive. So once we talk about jungle later on, we will try to discuss about this. That was our introduction. Now let's continue with Lihan's play. At a glance, we noticed that he didn't switch to sweeper after recall. It's because he can't guarantee to control the bush against Nautilus and Xayah. And if you see jungles, both jungles started red. As we explained last time, who comes bot first is a huge variable. Let's think as if you are Leona. If there is nothing special early, Lee will naturally move to the top side, and Jax will move to bot side. Since Nautilus is good with ganks, they last hit minions to pull the wave instead of pushing the wave from level 1. If you pull the wave once, later wave becomes a pushing wave by nature, and that is when Lee went to top and coming to bot side jungle camps, which minimizes the risk. Let's rewatch the play as we review what we said. Since they've been pulling the first wave, second wave, and the third wave, the new first wave forms a pushing wave. And this is the best time to use the jungle and make a play. Lee sees through this as well and ping all my way. Even though Lihan's missed his flashy, Lee makes a great play and grabs the first blood. Retin even warded the bush in the river at the risky time, but they positioned too forward that ward couldn't prevent the gank. Early lane management and review is now over. Now we'll provide reasonings to Lihan's pathing on every recall. Pretty sure you experienced getting interrupted and missing recall with your ADC. In this case, if you just recall regardless since you're out of mana, you will have a huge loss. First, the wave is a third wave, or the cannon wave. Since the enemy is fast pushing, recalling right now may expose Misfortune to a dive, so he decides to stay for Misfortune. And even though Misfortune came back, he doesn't recall. As mentioned earlier, if the enemy sees Misfortune alone, it can lead to a dive, and Lee is in topside, which adds more risk. It's simple if you just think for a while and see if your ADC can farm alone when you recall. Since he checked Xayah recalled, he wards in the river bush for a gank before he recalled. This is Lihan's first recall. His mid is going to recall and so is top with low health. Without a second thought, he gets back to the lane. Lava is pushing the wave to the turret, and based on the ward that Lihan's put, he could use Sparrows Blum and ward dip. This ward can check Jax's solo drag, leaping over the dragon pit, and even Rumble's roaming. Especially since Predator mid Rumble's long range ult roaming is critical, this ward plays an important role. Jax can still use Blast Cone that spawns at 510 and gank bot, but he's in a top tri-bush as he covers top, so bot's pretty safe for now. They only need to consider Rumble's TP since Vlad just uses it and Jax is at top. Lihan's uses Sweeper in the bush to prevent Rumble's TP. Just like this, whenever Lihan's plays melee tank support, he likes to get early Sweeper before completing the support quest for wards. Enemy Nautilus hooks to engage the fight, and Rumble can possibly teleport. But since Lee is coming and Syndra pushed her wave and is heading bot, Rumble doesn't have a good reason to teleport. Overall, Nautilus's careless engage resulted in double kills and a wave loss. Once Misfortune pushes the wave to the turret, next wave will be slowly pushed toward her, which creates a bigger loss to Xayah. This is Lihan's second recall. Misfortune pushed the wave and recalled. From pros habits number 4, can you feel that this is a roaming timing? Let's check other lanes and see if he can actually roam. Rumble has tenacity from Mercury, so unless they land a perfect skill combo, Rumble could kill Leona. Top as well is Vladimir, who can avoid a gank easily, and Akali is not good with ganks. Also, Predator Rumble pushed the wave and trying to roam, so he has to bot with Tabiz to focus on his lane. Yeah, even though you see a roaming timing, it still depends on the champions in other lanes. His decision is definitely a logical decision. We can follow his flow of thoughts. Of course, it is hard to make these decisions in game. But actually, you can think of these before the game starts. On the champion loading screen, you can sort of plan out by checking champions and their characteristics. So far, Lihan's only controlled mid-side vision, but he couldn't afford a control ward that can check Rumble's pathing, so he probably had Rumble's roaming in mind. But Rumble, the only concern, is Sin at top. This means that as Misfortune communicates with him that she's hitting level 6 soon, they can engage a fight. With Tabiz that is helpful in lane, he can tank more damage. This shows the best outcome of a good communication. Since he knows Misfortune needs 1 minion to level up, he uses Minion Dematerializer to proc targets and look for Misfortune's ult. This is why it's difficult against pro bot heroes high elo. The only concern Rumble teleported, but they killed enemy bot heroes and pushed all the waves, which make a bigger bot gap. This is Lihan's third recall. Since Dragon is alive, there is no need to rotate to top. So he only has to go back to bot. He doesn't need to go to mid since Syndra got all the bot side vision. While top is putting pressure and assuming Jax is at his red, Lee and he try Dragon. Not only we learn from correct decisions, but we learn even more from wrong decisions. First, there was no reason to believe Jax was on top side. This is their first mistake. Second, they jumped over and got caught by a ward. Third, a ward spotted Syndra in top side. Fourth, Rumble had an ult which is critical in the narrow area. And the risk is doubled by hitting Dragon first. Even though Lihan's tries to get more vision, Syndra is already in top side. And this leads to a huge loss. This basically lost all the bot lead. Lihan's fourth recall. Akali died during a dive, and Syndra is at top. At the same time, Lava made a 1v2 clutch and killed Xayah, and since Rumble and Jax are not seen, he has to cover bot ASAP. From now on, we'll fast forward and only focus on recall timing and decision making on roaming. Misfortune pushes the wave and recalls. Rumble pushed mid and was moving toward bot side, so he doesn't have to walk up to mid. So, before rotating top, he wards the rift bush and recalls with Misfortune. Number advantage is very important in League. Especially at an objective fight, you don't need to fight with number disadvantage. Since Dragon is gone, the next objective is Rift. Even though none of bot turrets is destroyed, MF and Leona go to top for Rift. So far, we checked 5 recall timings and provided reasons for his recalls and pathing. By analyzing a single game in depth, we can understand which plays were reasonable and which were lacking of evidence a little better. We will stop spectating at this point. On the next episode, we'll discuss what decisions are made on every recall timing, and finish up with the support series. Thank you.